Common, you co-star in Selma as civil rights leader James Bevel, and you and John Legend wrote the song "Glory" for the film, which was just nominated for a Golden Globe and a Critics' Choice Award for Best Original Song. Did you anticipate getting, the attention that you've gotten for this song?
Well, I didn't anticipate getting the attention for the song initially because my intention for the song and our intention was to create something that really captured the spirit of the civil rights movement and brought it to present day. So when I create, I don't necessarily say, okay, I'm going to get these awards or it's going to touch these. I just look forward to be something pure. I want to create something that moves me and eventually will move people. So that was the ultimate goal. It's just it. I have to say, Daniel, this song was something that was like really a divine expression. It didn't take long to think of. It was like really just those instinctive moments where you just, okay, I'm gonna write this. I'm calling John Legend. John created this was his first like this was his first pass at it. Like he never re-recorded anything. He just did his pass, and and we felt it. And I just think it was just a moment that we've been able to capture. And I didn't have you know, necessarily any awards or goals in mind with that. My intention was to move the people.
Now, yeah, at what point did you know that you would contribute the song to the movie? Did you know that you would be writing a song when you were cast originally?
No, originally I just was casted as an actor, and not just, I was very gratefully casted as an actor. And I was a part of Selma as an actor and just a contributor in that space. I had some discussions with Ava DuVernay, who directed and did a brilliant job of directing the film, and she mentioned that I could potentially be creating a song for it if I would want to. I could potentially create something. But this was later on, after when she was dealing with the editing, and the conversation didn't. It wasn't like we kept talking about it. It was like she mentioned it and said, you can create something for the film, and I just remember a moment where I was like, let me start creating now. Like, and it really was late in the process. Like, this was October when we started writing this song, when we wrote it.
So as soon as she asked, she told you, you could write a song for the film that, it just sort of went really quickly and it sort of flowed that naturally.
Well, when she asked, it was a gap in time before I started to actualize it because I didn't know where they were in the process. I didn't get to see the film, and she asked and she mentioned it, and it was kind of like, okay, we didn't talk about it much more after that. So I just started the process at that moment. When I caught the inspiration, and that inspiration was in the beginning of October. And Ava, I discussed it with Ava. Hey, we getting this started, and she was like, okay, I'm looking forward to it. And from there, we just ended up. It was the first, like, Glory was the first, like, actually I gave John three titles that I thought we may should go with, and he wrote piano and sang the chorus that really from the title Glory, because I gave him, that was the third title I gave him. And I heard that, I knew that it was something that was really, it was a spiritual song to me. It was like a song of the moment. It was a song really carrying the energy of the civil rights movement and Dr. King. And that's what I went from, so it was just that spirit in that moment. And it's been hard for me to describe in some ways, like, how this feeling came about, but I just thank God that it did and that it is here, because this song for me is like a chance to express what I really want the world to have. If it's a song that really is a depiction of who I am as an artist, and I believe who John Legend is as an artist, and what we want society to be, that song is Glory.
Yeah, you mentioned there were a couple other potential titles that you had in mind that and you ended up with Glory. What were a couple of the other ones that in those ideas that you had for it?
Okay, the first title I sent John was "This Is Where God Lives." The second title, for some reason, I don't remember. Maybe John remembers it, but I don't remember the second title. The third title was Glory. It was Look, I was actually just laying in my bed at home, and those thoughts just came to me, and I didn't think twice about them. Like I just said, okay, John, this might be one, this one, and this one, and just said, and just rattled them off, and and I decided that whatever route that he wanted to go, I was going to go with, because I knew he was beginning the song with piano. You know, we discussed, we had a 5-minute conversation about Selma and what what type of song we wanted to create and the spirit of what the song would be. And I knew John from there could take that and go and create something that would, be in the direction. Now, when I heard what he played, I was I was like overjoyed. I felt like I hadn't heard him sing like in these gospel tones, and I hadn't heard him sing like that in a long time. So it was a beautiful thing for me to get his piano and his chorus that inspired me. And from there, that's where we went with it. But yeah, I can't remember the second title for some reason, but Glory was the third. And John said to me, when he saw Glory, he was like, yes, that's it. He knew where to go.
Now, the song and the film have a lot of current resonance for the reasons of what's been happening in the last few months, in Ferguson, and you reference Ferguson in the song. Did shooting the film at all coincide with all of those events and protests in Ferguson, or did that come as a surprise afterwards? How closely this film would sort of feel to the present moment?
Yeah, I mean, when we were filming Selma, Mike Brown had not been killed, and the incident with Eric Gardner hadn't happened either, with him being killed. So we didn't know that this would have such a true relevance to what's going on today. We didn't know, when have we seen in our lifetime, Daniel, people really protesting at this level for human rights, for justice. I mean, no one could have predicted that we would see this in 2014, people standing up the way they're standing up, the youth standing up the way they're standing up. And so we just filmed this movie knowing that we were paying respect and honor to the story and of the human beings, the everyday people that fought for our freedom, fought for us to be able to vote, that stood up and marched and planned and strategized and prayed for us to be here. We knew we were paying homage and respect and honoring them and telling their story. We didn't know how present their story would be, how relevant their story would be, because this occurred 50 years ago. And one thing did pop up that made me say this story we're telling is relevant in many ways. Was It was issues coming up about the poll taxes. They were trying to reverse the laws about the poll taxes and voting, and I was like, wow, my character just said something about that in the film, and now they're trying to reverse that like 50 years later. So I knew it was some relevance, but no one would ever know that this movie would be this important and come at this time and really just be something bigger than a movie. But because now Selma is like creating its own history in a way. It's actually being an extension of what Dr. King. It's a continuation of what Dr. King and the people who marched from Selma to Montgomery, and the people who stood up for human rights. Selma is an extension of that now, because that story being told is actually inspiring people, and it's also like motivating people. It motivated me. So, you know, who would have known? But everything is in divine time and divine order, and we thank God that we are able to be a part of the progress, because I'm always looking at this situation hopefully, in hope. I'm looking at it in like that we are going to make positive change, that things are going to be greater and better. So it's being a part of Selma is one of the greatest gifts I've ever had in my life, because I'm a part of something. I'm an artist. I love, creating art. As an actor, I'm an artist. As a musician, I'm an artist. So to be a part of something that really can be life enhancing and life inspiring and really help change the world and improve the world, that's the best of both worlds for me. And I'm just extremely grateful that God said, hey, you could be a part of Selma, and as an actor, and then eventually as a musician and artist with John Legend.
Yeah, it seems like, the nature of activism has changed so much in the last 50 years, if only because the internet has given people, so much more of an ability to have their voices heard. On Twitter, Black Lives Matter was trending. It might still be trending at this point, even. Do you think it's, easier to sort of, that tool makes it sort of easier to bring about change and to organize people and to make things happen in a positive way?
I think that social media and the internet is a powerful tool to help organize, to help get the word out, um, to help express oneself. But I also believe it's other components that have to be there. And part of that is being present and being out on the grounds, in the marches, participating, going out to vote, seeking out what can you do, like in a peaceful way, to create that change. So what I'm saying is, accompanying our Instagram expressions and our hashtags and our tweets, we also have to be out there and be active. Our bodies need to be present, and that's something that being a part of Selma showed me. Before, like I said before, we were dealing with the situations that have occurred in Ferguson and in New York, and really, it's been occurring in our country for a while. I really learned by being a participant in Selma that I have to do more, because I can do it through the music. I can say things. I can do speaking engagements. I can stand up. I'll say things at the award shows, but I have to be present and be active and be part of the conversation and vote. And I have to, figure out who to support. And, like it, I just need to put more work into it and more commitment. And I think, when you are using social media, I feel that should be one of the tools you use, and you should accompany that with your own activism and ways that are going out within your own communities. It starts in our communities, and it's so great to see people standing up for Black life and saying Black Lives Matter, because it's just showing that we care about each other, and it's not just a Black thing, but it's saying it's Asian brothers and sisters, Latino brothers and sisters, Indian brothers and sisters, Arabic brothers and sisters, white brothers and sisters, saying, hey, Black people, we care about you all. We value your life. I don't know what, some people in this country may not, but we do. And that means something. It's a brother and sisterhood that we need, is necessary in our country and in the world.
Now, some of the most impactful scenes in the film are of course, seeing those marches across the bridge in Selma. How much, if any, material was shot on location
Oh,
in actual Selma?
oh, you know, they marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge which was, you know, in Selma, like the exact, in fact, some of the people that were in the marches in 65 participated. And it was the exact same bridge, um, which happens to be named after a Grand Wizard Klansman, the Edmund Pettus Bridge. But the people that was on location. So was the Montgomery speech. Unfortunately, as an actor, I wasn't able to participate in the actual march across the bridge because of scheduling conflicts, but which really hurt me when I watched when I watched the film. I'm like, man, I wish James Bevel was there. But you know, Ava was so clever. She showed a clip of Bevel in the film, like a real piece of footage of James Bevel, you know, actually talking to the people during that time. So, you know, Bevel was there, but it just, you know, everybody that experienced that said it was a special moment. And I have to say, Ava DuVernay did something very special with this movie. She created something that is intimate, that is soulful, that has heart, but it's a story about a hero that's so big, and you still feel the epic, you know, the epic story of it. You still feel how big this moment was and what it did to change the world. But you also get to know a human being, and you realize that this great man, Dr. King, had all these people, women and men, supporting who contributed towards the movement, and they all were the people who made this change in the world. And you also realize that Dr. King was a human being. He was a man who had flaws, who loved, who doubted himself, who was able to maneuver and stood up to the president. Like, this was a human being. He laughed, he smoked cigarettes. You know, it's really good to see a human being be Dr. King, because it makes us understand that we have the potential to be great people on this earth, even with our flaws, because we all have them.
Yeah, I agree. I think you know, a lot of times what gets lost when when someone becomes an icon, as Martin Luther King has rightly become an icon, you know, we sort of lose that humanity and lose that connectedness to them as a person. To think of ourselves as, you know, instead of, you know, being this great thing to us, you know, to admire, he can just be an accessible human being that you can actually aspire to.
Yes, yes. That aspiration is important. You know, one of the first times I felt like, oh man, I could win a Grammy is when I saw my friends, The Roots. I was at the Grammys and they won over all these big popular artists, commercial artists. They won. And I was like, I can do this. You know, I can do this because these are friends of mine who do music that's not so commercial, and they were recognized. And the point I'm making is sometimes it takes seeing someone that you can relate to know that you can do it, and you can aspire to be that person. So instead of having our heroes just be so far away from us that they're stars that we can't even reach for, let's know that these stars are people that we can connect with, and we can rise to be those stars. And it's great to see that one of the biggest stars in the world, and I'm not talking about celebrity star, but star shining light on the world, Dr. Martin Luther King, he's attainable, he's reachable by us. We feel the humanity in him, we feel connected with him.
Speaking of Grammys, you know, congratulations on your nominations this year for the album Nobody's Smiling, which came out during the summer. You know, and that was in the midst of you know, Selma, you know, was filming this year, and also, you know, you left your role on Hell on Wheels this year. So how did that album sort of fit in with the acting work you did in terms of when you were able to record it?
I recorded a lot of Nobody Smiling near the end of last year, you know, starting in October and then up to the spring. I was finishing up the album, mixing it and completing certain songs while I was filming Selma. But not really exactly during the process, because when I'm focused on a film, is I'm not able to sit and work and just start writing songs. Like, or I'll say I choose not to, because I commit myself to the film and towards the project. I'm very like passionate about giving 110% to anything that I do, 360%, you know. So the album was pretty much, it was it was culminated. It was created, and it was just in the final stages, which I didn't have to do as much because we had no idea who produced the album. He was overseeing, and he was executive producer, so he was able to get the mixes done. But these films, Selma played a part in, because when we started the idea of Nobody Smiling, it was like really describing what's going on in Chicago and what's going on in a lot of the inner cities. And it was like it is a plight and a mission to raise awareness and change the situation, offer solutions, and also be a piece of music that can accompany the activism. And the activism came in what I do with my foundation, Common Ground, teaming up with Kanye's foundation called Donda's House, um, teaming up with the city of Chicago and the Chicago Urban League, getting jobs for young people, going into the communities, connecting with people that are grassroots activists like Father Flagrant in Chicago, teaming up with these people to try to help create peace and opportunities for people in Chicago and other inner cities. So the album was focused on that, and being a part of Selma made me say, oh, I have to be even more strategic towards this. You know, like I learned that the commitment had to be every day working towards putting thoughts towards how can we change this. And it just made me more active, become more responsible, and I felt like it was more of my duty. And it was a great catalyst and a blueprint for me to go by, because I'm at that point in my life and career where it's not about me really as much anymore. Of course, I want to be a great artist. I want to grow. But it feels great to be able to say, man, this project is dedicated to generations coming up and to the people who are dealing with the problems, and I was speaking for them, being a voice for them, and this is what I'm here for. That I feel like that's part of my purpose on this earth. So I'm grateful, and Selma was truly a spark in helping me to be more active in a company with my music.
Well, I want to congratulate you again on the Critics' Choice nomination, Golden Globe nomination, the Grammy nominations, and it might be a further busy year for you. Fingers crossed, potential Oscar nomination for the song also, and for the film also, several potential nominations.
Yes, God willing. I'm just grateful to be in this space right now and to get the Critics' Choice nomination and the Golden Globe nominations, and I'm very, very grateful, and I'm even like happier that Glory is a song that feels like it's a song for this time and this movement. It's a freedom song that is able to touch people from different walks of life and different backgrounds, and just say, hey, y'all, we all play a part in this fight. We all play a part in making the world better. So I'm grateful more than anything that this music is touching people's hearts, and I thank God for that.
Well, best of luck in the coming months, and thank you very much for talking with me today. Good luck on the film's release coming up soon.
Thanks, Daniel. Blessings to you, bro. I appreciate you.